How else might an occupational therapist work with a student who is deaf-blind?
Other activities that we are trained to provide include helping the child become aware of his body in space and also helping him develop appropriate balance reactions. A child who can't see or sees poorly doesn't know what's around him, and he's afraid to move. And by providing a safe way in which to move and providing vestibular experiences, vestibular is related to balance, then the child learns to move safely, and we can teach them how to use their bodies and how to learn from their environment, teach them what's safe. Children with hearing impairment and visual impairment usually have trouble with balance. Part of it is not knowing where they are, part of it is fear of falling. And another is simply that things may not be neurologically present in the same way that they are with other children, and so their reactions are delayed. Sometimes when people see OTs working with children in different settings, they think that, oh, they're just playing. And we do approach particularly young children through play activities, but it's play with a purpose. We provide, for instance, if a child likes to swing, we provide them with the opportunity to swing, but while doing it, we teach them how to get in and out of the swing by themselves, safely, what to do if they fall, how to put their hands forward, where to put their hands, how to protect themselves. The child is having a wonderful time, but the child is also learning. It's not a drill. You don't say, oh, you have to work now. It's, oh, good, we're going to play on the swing. Can you stand up on a big square swing? That provides balance activities and experiences that they otherwise might not be able to do.
What knowledge and skills do you bring to students' educational teams?
As an occupational therapist, I have learned about the sequences of development in a motor sense, what a child can learn to do from being on their backs as babies to crawling, creeping, pulling to stand and walking, how the muscles work, what different muscle tone does to movement, and also how a child learns to feed himself. Feeding is a critical issue with OTs because many babies with problems have feeding problems as well. And also how they respond to different sensory experiences in the environment. We really assess children as to what they are doing at the time of assessment. And I always try, from my perspective, I like to see a child with his parents or primary caregivers, because I think then they're most comfortable and you can see what they can do most easily. Watch what they do, how they do it, and then discuss with the teachers, if the teachers or the parents or whoever's working with the child, what I've observed, how I can see if they are doing things in the most efficient way, and then what perhaps we could do to help the child become more appropriate with what he's doing. I mentioned assessment. One of the things that we as occupational therapists are trained to do is to assess a child in all areas of development. We assess their language and communication skills. We assess the gross motor, as I mentioned earlier, the movement, the gross movements, moving in space, and we also assess fine motor skills. And especially for children who are deafblind, one of their primary means of learning is through touch. And many children who have not had the same kind of experiences as children who can see and hear don't have the same experience in touching. They don't explore things. They're afraid of things, and they become very sensitive to different kinds of touch. They're afraid of things that are different. Often their parents have not given them the opportunity because of protecting them, and maybe overprotection at times. They don't give them the opportunity to touch a variety of textures, to play with the dog's water dish, to play in sand, to even play in the mud when they're outside and touch it, and they learn from touching. Sometimes children have trouble using their hands together, and we have strategies that help them use their hands together. Sometimes children don't have a pincer grasp, which is picking up things with the thumb and forefinger, and there are a lot of activities that are fun for children that encourage that. We want them to be very aware, particularly a child who's going to be a Braille reader, or to learn only primarily through their fingers. We want them to be very aware of the differences between different sizes of things. We play with a bunch of textures. We will fill a bin with oatmeal or sand and hide things in it, and have the child find the item and then identify it if they're able to, or else sort things, different shapes in different containers. Just activities the kids, it's fun. At the same time, they are really learning to discriminate and what this is as opposed to what that is, to make different kinds of judgments about what's appropriate for this and not.